I want to give a quick demo of WordSkew, and the idea with this program is to tie concordance type information with text structure, sections or paragraphs or terms if it's a spoken text. And so we can load the corpus the normal way, but crucially before that we have to tell the software what kind of structure the text has, and there are the usual options for this. So is the sentences marked by some kind of tags, or we're going to use some automatic recognition, and then have something to do with punctuation and abbreviations and so on. Similarly for paragraphs, it's a kind of blank lines or HTML, and for sections, again, this is something like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or some HTML. And the top part is something, if you have several texts in one file, then you have a kind of header and body structure for that. Then what are the tags for those? So in this case I have a newspaper text, and newspaper text has this kind of story markup which is corresponding to each article. So that's the structure of the text that we've indicated there. And the next thing to look at is the how we want to look at that distribution. So here are the sentences. How do you want to divide up the sentence into just 10 equal units? You're kind of counting words here, so looking at the first tenth of the sentence, the second tenth of the sentence, and so on. Or do we want to look at particular positions, the first, second, mid, penultimate, last, etc. Similarly for the paragraphs, the same deal, the sections and the text. And we could also, exclude some sentences if we wanted to do that, exclude some paragraphs, make the search case sensitive, and so on. Well, here we're kind of counting words. The alternative is count characters if you kind of have Japanese or something like that. Okay, and I loaded this search. It took about 4 minutes to do the search, so I'm not going to go through that. But what I did do was look for the word time, just a simple word time, and I sort of said, well, give me the distribution of the sentence to paragraph and the section. And here you look at the whole corpus of just one file. So looking at the results of that, here then the first set of results, you have the table here and the graph, histogram. So we see we have 6,000 matches out of 4 million odd words in the corpus, number of sentences, number of paragraphs, and so on. And the sections here are equivalent really to little articles in the newspaper. But looking at that, we see that the distribution is fairly uniform. Slightly large in the mid sections rather than big in the end, but it looks pretty uniform. You see the mean and the median up here, and then asking for the distribution in the paragraphs. Well, there's a bit of initial blip and then a fall, but again a fairly uniform structure. But we could go in and look at this to see how the word time is being used at the beginning of the paragraph, first the middle of the paragraph, and so on. But for now, just look at the last one, which is the sentences. So here a more interesting distribution where we have a large blip at the end of the sentences, and kind of fairly uniform before that. So crucially, we're looking at two things here. We're looking at what is the distribution of a word or a phrase over a unit of text, and that shows that in the graph. The second question is, how is the usage of that word or phrase different in different areas of the text? And that's what I'm kind of mainly interested in exploring with this software. So if we click on this, then we see we have the concordance lines for the use of the word at the end of the sentence, towards the end of the sentence. And so we can sort those, sort them first left, second left. And then let's very quickly just scroll through, look at those instances. We have at a time, at any time, difficult time, every time. For the first time, it's quite strong. Full time, half time, kind of sports reporting. In time, last time. So not surprisingly, it's very temporal use, quite punctual. Some phrases at the same time, second time, for some time. Okay, and a few for this time and from time to time. Okay, and then we can look at the distribution at the beginning. So we had fewer examples here. Let's sort those again, first left, and then maybe first right. So here we have at a time, not surprisingly, it's introducing now a clause, so a rather different usage, but the same phrase. Each time and every time is maybe a little bit more common. Again, for the first time, and then something following, from time to time, half time. Then again, more grammatical kind of structures. It is time that, it's time to do something. No time, the only time, da 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 da. Again, quite a lot of at the same time. So at the same time is common in both the beginning and the end positions, used slightly differently, not surprisingly. And quite a few the time, at the time, by the time. So again, that kind of more grammatical clausal use. And similarly with this time, very common here. Okay, so that gives a quick sense of the differences. You could do a more careful study and really tease apart the difference between the two. Look at those expressions which occur in both positions, maybe in different contexts, those expressions which favored one position rather than the other. So again, the aim is to kind of tie the concordance results and the collocational information to structures in a text, whether it's written text or a spoken text.